David, into the third round, and in the end, a comfortable win here at Deepdale tonight.
Yeah, it ended up a little bit more comfortable than I thought it might have been before the game, but obviously a really good result for us. I thought we played well at times in the games. Our football is quite good. We needed to finish things off a bit better in the first half than we did do, but really pleased we scored 4 goals.
Just a word on your hat-trick goal scorer tonight, and Tieno, he was telling us how he's worked really hard in the summer with his mindset and his ability as well. Did you say anything to him at the end of last season coming into this one, or is it just motivation by himself? I
think I told him he has to do a lot better than he did before. That's it. You know, we want goal scorers, we want centre forwards to score goals, and he's got some. I don't think it's easy for MD coming to the Premier League in the first season, I think, and especially centre forwards. I think it's difficult for him. He'll learn a lot more, he'll see a lot more, and he's come in with a much better attitude generally, so whoever's working with him's doing a good job.
And Brennan Johnson as well was telling us how he feels so comfortable in and around Everton, the training ground, the Hill Dickinson Stadium as well. Do you feel he can really find his home at Everton?
Well, look, we want to find what he did at Tottenham when he was scoring all those goals, and I thought tonight when he came on, you know, his assist was a brilliant assist, and his finish as well. I think the people who've watched Brennan over the years would tell you that looks a bit more like him, you know, getting on the end of things, finishing in the box. So we don't want to bring him on too quick. We want to sort of introduce him, but he's done well when he came on tonight.
And the 2 games that we've seen so far, there's so much energy, so much youthfulness around this team this season. Can you get carried away at the moment? Can fans get carried away?
No, they can't. No, I think we've got a lot of work to do, and I still feel that for us to be a side which is competitive, I still think that we've got a lot of work to do. Hopefully we're able to try and do some of it.
In what way? More work to do?
More players. Our squad's not big enough, and we need to get more quality in some areas that we can do.
Which leads me on, do you feel you will be able to do that before the window closes?
No, I'm not sure we will, but look, it's not for me and the want to try, and that's for sure.
But I guess you just want to keep this momentum going, don't you, at this moment in time?
I think at the start of the season, when you get started, I think my experience would tell me when you get some wins under your belt, it's helpful. You know, it's a good win in the cup tonight against not an easy opposition. And the win on Saturday was good as well, so hopefully we can continue to try and build on it.
So far so good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, so far so good, absolutely, for Everton. What a start to the season they've had. They're into the third round of the Carabao Cup as well after tonight. Some really good performances so far. It's interesting that David Moyes says there about Tieno Barry. He spoke to him in the summer. He wanted to see a little bit more from him. He is absolutely showing that already, isn't it? That's perfect response.
Of course, that's what you want. You want your players to come back fit, firing. We were talking earlier, it looks like he's been doing a lot of pre-season training, getting himself right, getting himself stronger. I think what the Premier League does to players, if you're not used to it, the physicality of it can catch you out. The speed of it can catch you out. So sometimes with players, you have to be a bit patient. You have to give them 6 months, give them a year. Some straight away, if you think back to some of the great Suarez, for instance, as soon as he came here, bang, scores the goals and he's flying. Others, you have to give a bit of time before you rule them out. And he's right now, and it's still early, 2 games in, but he's made a great start.
What do you think this says about Everton's ambitions, perhaps, in the Carabao Cup? The fact that David Moyes made 3 changes, but a very strong team, and still, you know, beating Preston North End 4-0. It's a big statement. Yeah,
it's a massive statement. But when you listen to some of the conversations he's had with reporters over the last couple of days, he's made it perfectly clear this is a competition that any manager wants to win. You know, you don't go into any game hoping to win or hoping not to lose. You go into every game trying to win the game, and that's his perspective on this cup. And Jamie alluded to it earlier on. If he's able to finish off this season with a trophy, any trophy, it just cements the great legacy that he's been able to achieve at Everton. He would have wanted it to be a Premier League title or whatever, a massive trophy. Sorry, but it's the only thing that's missing from his trophy cabinet, isn't it? Something at Everton.
Yeah, I thought today he was alluding to it. He wants more players in. You know, that's and I think there'll be a lot of managers if he can get a couple more in just to bolster that squad. I think maybe even defensively, that's where he's maybe looking. He obviously didn't say where, but because going forward, they've got some options, and maybe another centre forward if Beto stays. If he goes, who knows?
Maybe a right back as well.
Maybe a right back. I know he's been linked to a couple, north of the border. So it's I think if you give him that and you give him the opportunity with the players that he's got, I think this is one of the strongest Everton squads I've seen for a while. But as I say, he needs one or two, and no one knows more than him what he needs to achieve that. In midfield, they've got some strength in depth. I like how that team's looking. Norgard, I think, is going to be a really good signing. Plenty of experience in there. Hackney, as I've mentioned, you've got Garner, Dewsbury Hall. Good footballers, but obviously can get around the pitch as well. So they have got a lot in that area. I just think he's probably talking about a number 9 and maybe a centre-back and a right-back, as you say. But I think, so far this season's been a really good start for them, but it can change quickly. They fell off at the end of last season. They don't want that to happen again.
How do you stop that then from happening as a player? You've got a really good start. You're going to be feeling energetic. You're going to have the momentum behind you. Yep. But as Jamie said, if things turn, you have to try and stay sort of consistent, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you've got to work your socks off. Hard graft is David Moyes' non-negotiable. If you're outworked by a team, or if they're technically better than you and they beat you, but you've worked your socks off, he'll say, listen, today was not our day. We'll focus again, we'll go again the next game. And that's it. There's no shortcut to being the fittest one ever. You've got to put in the hard yards.